Proxy table gaming fans, lords and ladies, lucky sixes over
Am I not a
there.
lord or a lady?
Um, you're a bit in between.
I'm
You're a bit
sure.
in
I'm
between.
sure I'm nobility somewhere.
You know,
I'm
yeah.
sure of it.
Well, everyone is really, aren't they? It's just those. Some of us have fallen more rapidly than others. Really,
That's true.
you
That's
know.
true.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
yeah, I completely understand your point. Um, but unlike us, the viewers certainly are nobles, and what a noble treat we have for them today.
It's good. It's good.
It's
I'm
good.
still enjoying this even after it occurred.
I know. I know. So this is a bit something a bit different for you viewers. It's a bat rep of sorts, but it's not a battle. It's a
No,
duel and many duels. Still using
six
the
characters only.
yeah, 6 characters. Still using the hotfix from 24th of December.
Hmm.
But this is the duel round of the Masters Open.
Hmm.
And it is effectively a round robin, which we'll get into later. But I just want to present this picture to you to
Nice.
start off with.
Yeah,
This is the duel round. All of these
the
characters
lineup.
that you see are the duelists, and
And it wasn't
everyone.
originally a round robin, was it?
No, it wasn't. It was going to be a knockout originally, but this because the Masters Open, this involves everyone, and at the Masters Open there were 6, as you can count.
Yep.
We decided to do a round robin thing and see how that worked. Really, this is the first type of thing that I've done at a tournament,
Yeah.
where it was single model things, and I think it'd be talked about for a little bit,
Hmm.
and we just wanted to see how it would implement. So,
I
on
reckon it's just on that picture you've just gone past. I reckon if we had time or if we thought of it, we should have just started a battle from that deployment,
yeah, just gone.
like afterwards, and just said,
I mean,
"This is where you are. Roll for
speaking
first
of
turn.
I guess
Go."
on that, we probably did have time. The whole
Yeah, yeah,
round, including all of these matchups against each other,
yeah.
was about 45 minutes. I think
Yeah, not more than that. Yeah.
maybe that might be over egging it, but that was
Mm.
mainly 40 minutes of me chatting to everyone.
Well,
Um,
yeah. Oh,
so
shut up.
yeah, it was just great fun, and I think most people from the
Yeah.
round from the open enjoyed it. But to
Yeah.
get serious for a second,
Yes,
this
let's.
is this is with the Matrix. Obviously, we're blacked out because we don't want any spoilers for the rest. We want you
Uh-huh.
to go to the end where there's what do they say on YouTube? You'll never believe what happens at the end. Um, and yeah, in terms of the rules, there was not many to be honest.
No,
But it
no.
was in the first round of combat. So as in the first round of
First
each
strike.
match,
Yeah,
both characters counted as charging.
of course.
And in terms of post combat, there is no combat res or
Nope.
crumble or anything. So everyone is basically unbreakable or whatever that rule's called
Hmm.
now.
Yeah.
And we just carry on until someone dies. Of course, if
Yes.
if after 6 rounds of combat in each match, there is no death, then you draw.
Hmm. Yes.
And the only, I
But
guess,
when don't really draw, there was an order. Um, there was a percentage of wounds you've
yeah.
taken, and also
But
the cost of the model were
there's also a
factors.
reason I haven't included any of that
Yeah,
in that because
it
we
didn't
didn't have a
happen.
single draw, so it doesn't
No.
matter.
Yeah.
The
One
only other
came nearly close, but
yes,
didn't. Yeah.
yeah, the only other
Yeah.
stipulation of this was that it had to be part of your army that you
Yes.
presented for the open as a whole. So it couldn't just
Hmm.
be a random model that you just
Yeah.
kitted out for this. You had to make it work in your army, which I thought was an
Mm.
interesting. That was
Yeah.
interesting enough on itself because some people went
Mm.
all in to the duel and just went, here's a character,
You're looking at
deal
him.
with it because it will kill all your
Yeah.
characters. And other people went for a more rounded approach. So, for example, there was no magic phases in this, and
No.
some of the characters, including mine, a little bit had magic. So,
Hmm.
yeah, I guess some
Mine
of
did
them
not.
arguably are not dual efficient, but it was all part of it, and it was all a bit fun.
Yeah.
So on to the characters, and we'll go through them one by one.
Nice. I
There
love
is
this.
for this little bit, I
Should
will
have
take this
entrance
off.
music.
I know, yeah.
Yeah. What would be
um,
your elf's entrance music, do you
our
reckon?
elves would be some loot. somewhere.
Sweet child of mine.
No, it should be a bard singing terribly.
Oh yeah, some minstrel.
Yeah. So I've got a general High Prince who's Master of Cameron Tower, which is where his magic comes from. Destiny's Call is his only defense with the spear. Is the Spear Lord, the Sliver of the Blazing Dawn.
Yeah.
And he's got a bit of an extra item, a Scroll of the Pearl Throne. So for one round, he can turn off an item, which I thought was really cool. Yeah. I did actually consider the Warriors Entropic Aura guy was going to be my other one, but I went for this instead because I wanted the highlights.
Yeah. Cool.
So nice and simple there. Yours arguably even simpler in terms of item loadout, but he has a few special rules that makes him pretty nice.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously it was very simple in the fact that as a Tego veteran on an Alpha Carnosaur, you can't load them up with defensive items because they just won't work. You have to take the Alpha Carnosaur stats and everything. So I think with defensive skill 3, I was absolutely the least defensive skill in the tournament for that reason. But similarly, you couldn't give him like an Aegis save or Destiny's Call or anything like that because it just wouldn't work. So really, I just made him a Rex to get an extra HP. A bigger base didn't matter for this round. Light Lance, Glory of the Dawn Age to get an extra strength and lethal strike on 6s. And the Stampede Resonator Crystal, which is obviously a little bit of an interesting one because we all counted as charging. And I checked with Jack before the tournament that because the Stampede Resonator Crystal usually gets activated in the charging phase, am I okay to say that it has been activated? And Jack was like, yeah, that's cool. So it counted as being activated in the first turn, which is amazing.
So I should say, I guess, in terms of so you're 3-up armor, res 6, 8 wounds.
8 wounds.
8 wounds.
And that's it.
And that's it for defense. But obviously in attack, you've got all your hatred in the first round. Mop wounds 2 from the Carnosaur stuff. Which obviously for characters is quite scary. And
the guy on top's got multiple wounds too if he rolls his lethal strike as well. But I can safely say, didn't happen.
But and in comparison, my guy's 3 wounds, res 3, 4-up. So got the Aegis, just in the Aegis.
I think you probably won the res lowest stat, didn't you?
Equal. Oh yeah, no, I did. I was.
He was on the chariot.
But and but obviously with the sliver, if no one knows, it's the doubles up into hits or whatever. So that's our 2. That's what we presented to the field. And this is Darren's one. Another high elf. He's got Royal Huntsman, which is really good. Is if you're height 4 or 5. Which I guess he was imagining was going to be. He is Mop wounds 2 as well, so that's really good. Lion Chariot for impact hits and some extra lion attacks, which aren't anything to sniff at, really. Dragon Forged armor, along with the Diadem of Protection, gives him the 4-up Aegis. Demon's Bane, I think, is against magical attacks. It gives him a 1-up armor.
+2 armor. Yeah.
Overall, Eldritch Inscriptions and Great Weapons means you re-roll in to hit and to wound, which is
such a good item.
Such a good item. And he also, not only with all that and being res 4 and 4 HP, he also has the Scroll of the Pearl Throne. So he is, very much this is a guy kitted out for this. But also, I've seen him in a few lists as well, so he can be pretty good on the tabletop as well. So
really
no reason why either couldn't happen. So
I'm not going to lie, going into this and when we knew the characters and everything, I saw Darren as the favourite. Like, even though I was massively multi-wound Carnosaur and everything, Darren's character, I thought to myself, that's good.
He's got really the Aegis to go with him. I do remember you saying, I'd be confident if I had 9 wounds, but I've only got 8.
Well, pretty much. Exactly that. Four attacks. I hadn't even factored in the lions into that scenario, but exactly.
But we obviously can't say he's the favourite without looking at the others. And Matty P was another one that decided for a big mount to go along with it. The last of the big uns, I guess, with a Forest Prince and on a Forest Dragon. The Obsidian Rock, obviously, wouldn't count here. So would just be for the battles in the other round. So Again, arguably not the most efficient. But with a great weapon and Vorpal binding, he was pretty good on top as well. So while he didn't have the multiple wounds, he didn't boast the multiple wounds, he still had 7 HP, res 6, 3 up armor, and all the extra attacks to go with it. Of course, little old me is the only one so far out of this lot that's getting stomped as well. So that's lovely. There was a lot of oh god, like this. Look at this, but yeah. But yeah, really, really cool. He again is chosen because he has a 4-up. You can only be hit on a 4-up that gets shooting. So again, it's he has a battle element as well in terms of the army. So that's quite cool. Tommy D, the other Tom, the slightly lesser Tom, as we know,
slightly lesser,
and probably as we know now, slightly lesser Tom, I think, is a nice nickname. Anyway, his vampire count was on a skeletal steed. Sangreal gave him fury and +1 armor, so I think he was boasting
really good.
1+ armor overall.
It might be 2.
He is a bit of magic as well.
Probably wrote 1 up.
Yeah, as all vampires are, a little bit of magic, but that obviously wouldn't count for this. Legend of the Black King gives him that 4-up Aegis, and the Touch of Greatness on Halberd gives him strength 7.
7.
AP always. At least 4, if not more. So he's even wounding you on 3s, which is pretty nice.
Oh yeah. This guy scared me, and obviously, being a vampire, you know they're gonna hit well even without Eternal Duelist. So
yes, of course, which is rerolling 1s to hit and to wound. So slightly lesser Eldritch Inscriptions, I guess. And last but certainly not least, and also bringing up the on-foot masters was Mr. Dante with his vampire count on foot. Count von Skabvat. It's obviously a general with Vitala, which I can't remember what that is.
It's the Awaken ability, the one we talked about in the last battle report.
Yeah. Again, arguably not the most efficient for a duel, but he has got Destiny's Callers and Halberd Eldritch Inscriptions, so he is strength 6, rerolling to hit and to wound, and obviously has that Aegis as well. Rod of Battle and Gets in the Netherworld are again an army thing. So don't really come
I think Dan probably won the award for the most items that weren't useful this round.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which wasn't to say that he still wasn't a contender, because Destiny's Call, Halberd, Eldritch Inscriptions, Vampire, more than enough to fight your corner.
It is, yeah. So I mean, there's still res 5 even on foot, which is great.
Absolutely,
But so I guess in terms of Fatala, Unbreakable Will, which is stubborn, Rod of Battle, Gates in the Netherworld, all that stuff, and obviously all the magic being an adept rather than Pentas as well, gives him all the army stuff. So he was just there to represent his army.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. And like I say, he can still pack a punch. Like if you whiff your attacks or something, that vampire is going to come back and do you in, son.
Son. Absolutely. So this brings us on to round 1. Tommy, it was the vampire off, the high elf off, and the others. The others.
Yes.
Who else? Who else was here?
Dragon versus Carnosaur.
Yes, the big uns. An interesting thing. I think out of the 2 vampires, I think it was just going to be a hit off, really, with who could roll better. They're both. I guess Tommy has better armor, so he's
better armor and fury and rerolls. I think.
Yeah.
I suppose Dan has rerolls too.
It was an interesting matchup.
I think if Dan didn't win that fight in the first round, then Tommy would edge it because he had battle fury and continuous rerolls, whereas Dan's rerolls were only turn 1. So it was going to go Tommy's way the longer it went on.
Only first round.
Yeah, first strike. Yeah.
Oh right, okay. Cool.
Are you having memories of when that's not happened for you?
Yeah. Didn't know that. Actually. Yeah. In terms of my matchup, I mean, I had impact hits, Lions. At least he wasn't multiple wounds too. So if my Aegis comes good, I can hit him back. Yeah. And it's just down the Aegis. Of course, we did have quite a funky. We had to get immediately the TO involved because we were like, well, who can do their Pearl scroll first? Because I'll just turn off his scroll, and then he can't turn off anything. And so it was a good bit of banter there, but I think
who won?
Rolled off and he won. But he didn't choose my Pearl Scroll. He chose my Aegis save, so that I was then res 3 wounds with a 5-up save.
Ah, against his impact hits.
Okay, yeah, which were all
Yeah,
AP2 anyway, so
yeah.
it didn't last long. Anyway, we got but in the big one, how did you find yourself against Mac P? How did you
Yeah, I
think
mean,
the
it was
battle
a
was
tough
going to
one.
go?
I mean, the dragon is very good, very, very good. And my issue was that with an elf on top, etc., I was getting hit very easily. The
Mm.
wounding was my best chance, but he was like strength 7, I think. So even
Mm.
then, he's getting through. So I just had to have enough HP left to survive,
Yeah,
really.
and
And that was what I was banking on. So yeah.
drum roll, please.
Yeah, there you
It
go.
worked out, and thankfully you did.
I did. I did. I outlasted. Yeah, I think I took
Yeah,
about 4 or 5 wounds from the elf and the dragon combined,
yeah,
and then I went a bit crazy. I don't think it went into a second round.
yeah.
The Carnosaur did his work, and because I only had to get through 4 wounds, and I think the guy on top didn't pull any lethal strikes, but I'm pretty sure he did 1 or 2, and that meant that the Carnosaur only had to get 3 through, and yeah, it was
He's only got
good.
4 attacks, is it? No.
Carnosaur's only got 4 attacks, but he's got
Yeah,
Fury, so
and
that
hatred, right?
helps. Exactly, and
So
hatred. So
yeah,
you've
so
got
you
two
could have like
chances of hitting
end up with
Fury.
6 hits out of 4 and
Yeah,
things like
well,
that.
yeah,
Really
yeah.
cool. Yeah,
8
mine
if
was
you're really
over.
lucky.
Yeah, yeah, mine were over in a matter of impact hits.
Of course.
It didn't get past that stage, so
Hmm.
unfortunately, my Res 3 elf died very easily. But it was a close fought between Tom and Dan. Unfortunately for Dan, Tommy edged it, but he did very well there. Leaving us on said points after the
Yes.
first matchup, 3 for yourself,
Hmm.
Darren, and Tommy. So leading
Yep.
the way, and took us on to round 2. We had an on foot battle, myself and Dan, with Darren taking on Matty P and yourself on Tommy T. So 2 winners
Yeah.
combined.
Mm. Yeah. It was fun, really, because we just switched around the table, didn't we? We kept
Yeah,
rotating around
yeah,
because we all did it on one table together. It was really cool. Really good fun. Mm.
yeah. So
Yeah.
in terms of ours, I knew I would be able to turn off the scroll, his Aegis save, his Destiny School,
Hmm.
which just meant I just needed to hit and wound round 1, and I should be okay. So
Yeah.
that's what I was. But if it lasted, I would have. It would have been very very tight.
Mm.
In terms of Darren versus Matty, obviously Darren's now got the mop wounds 2 against the bigger things, so you'd
Yeah.
arguably favour him with that as well as the
So
Aegis,
so.
as opposed to not. And were you feeling quite confident against Tommy, or?
Yeah. I mean, I was. The 1-up armor save kind of gets evaporated to my strength 4 AP 4,
Hmm.
strength 7 AP 4. But the fact that he's still got an Aegis save means that there is a chance that he doesn't get through. And with him
Slightly.
having strength 7 and re-rolls to hit and to wound, there was a chance that if it went to 2 rounds of combat, he would win, because of that. Because two rounds of him attacking
Yeah.
could kill me, whereas 1 round of me attacking had to kill him to stop him
Yeah.
getting 2 rounds.
But
So yeah,
but at least you only needed 1 Carnosaur and another wound from somewhere.
exactly
So
that. Yeah, yeah,
it was like that. And drum roll
yeah.
please for round 2. Yes, you did indeed come
I
good
did.
early doors.
Yeah, I can't
Matty
really remember the
actually,
details of it, but
yeah,
yeah,
Matty in their matchup actually overcome the multiple wounds
this
thing
was
and the Aegis.
huge.
So
Yeah.
that was a massive win really for Matty against that
Mm.
thing, and definitely looked pretty good there. And I thankfully again did it quite early on, before he could strike, which was good because getting into a grind with a vampire is never good for an elf. So
Or anyone.
yeah, which left us as is, 4 thing.
Yeah.
4 of us now on 3 points, with yourself leading the way, 2 out of
Yeah,
2.
Matty getting the win over Darren really evened up the
Yeah.
field and really put me in a nice position. So well done, Matty, there.
Yeah. So yeah, it was really good. And then once again, we shuffled around like it was musical chairs.
Hmm.
And I took on the mighty Matty P with this thing, which I was able to turn off his Vorpal blade bindings or
Yep.
whatever Vorpal blade.
Yep.
So for 1 round at least. Again, I just need to do it as early as possible with the scroll only lasting one. Darren, with picking himself back up again after the dragon, took himself against Tommy. No, all the Battle of the Ages, because they've both got 1 up, 4 up there.
Yes.
I guess arguably Darren's got a few more attacks, but then as we said, Tommy's got the Fury or Battle Focus, whatever it's called. So yeah, an interesting one to see who would win there out of that. And you took on little old Dan.
Little old Dan, yes, and obviously that was my first opportunity to get a bit of a stompage in, although technically wouldn't get a stomp because I'd traded it for impact hits. True. So I do not have stomp in the first round of combat because of that. But yeah.
Yeah, but again, I guess the multiple wounds too being a big factor.
I was still feeling okay about that one.
Yeah.
I mean, Dan hadn't even got the armor save that Tommy's one did, so yeah, still feeling okay. And technically, we'd already done that fight once because we fought in the battle in the battle rep we've just seen. I saw that Dan did 4 wounds to my Carnosaur. Absolutely, he can do that again. But I then killed the vamp. Well, technically in the battle I killed it with Crumble. Spoilers. But yeah. I felt like I could better a vampire if I actually allocated attacks on him. So
and drum roll please. It was exactly the case, and I think the 3 you guys started to show your prowess here yourself.
Yeah,
Matty and Darren, because it was over pretty quickly in all 3. Actually, I don't think I even got to the stomps. My one against Matty P actually. So yeah, and then Darren overcome him, the new opponent, and picked himself up again, to mean that he and Matty was on 6, but you absolutely smashing it with 9 points. With myself and Darren to go, so looking pretty
It was
good.
going well. It was going well, and no offense, I thought I could take the elf on. So I was thinking to myself. So long as nothing strange happens against the elf, got a decent chance here. Yeah.
Absolutely. So it took us on to round 4, and arguably your hardest matchup out of the.
Oh, I've moved. I was wondering where I was. Yeah.
You're still there. Don't worry.
Yeah.
I took on Tommy for another Tommy off and a bit of a rematch in the first one. Again, I can take off his Aegis turn 1, but we need to do it quite quickly. Then we've got him. Darren versus yourself, like I've said, for the big one, which would really would sort of sort out the top places really either way. On how that goes, and Matty going up against Dan T there as well. So Dan looking to get his first win against an informed Matty.
Definitely, because Matty was on the same points as Darren, so it was interesting that Matty was looking at me versus Darren match to see, where the opportunity was, but obviously you still have to get past Dan as well. So
yeah, and drum roll please. It's the worst drum roll.
He got me. He got me.
First loss, and well, how did it go? Was it close or was it?
Yeah. No. Well, yes, it was close. It was really, really close. Going into it, I knew that Darren's character was a problem for mine. So I expected this result, if I'm honest. Whereas the Matty P one with the dragon was a little bit more even, could have gone either way. This one, I thought Darren had the edge. But what was really, really upsetting, well, not upsetting, I was enjoying myself, we all were, was that Darren's character and impact hits combined did 5 out of 8 wounds. Which is obviously, that's very good, but meant I had 3 wounds left. His lions did 3 wounds to me.
The lions were absolutely...
What the frig? They were wounding on 5s. Wounding on 5s, and I had a 5 of 8 armor save.
Yeah.
That was disappointing. Yeah, so... I died to lion attacks, and I didn't strike.
We definitely all sort of stood and watched that for a little bit before returning to our matchups. Matty did get his win against Dan. Poor old Dan, not having a good time in this duel round so far.
Thank goodness he's undead and he just keeps on jumping back up.
Keeps coming back, yeah. And in my one versus Tommy, he got the edge. I remember the first round and I was like, I rolled all 4 hits and I was like, okay, cool, I've got 8 things. And I only need, he has no Aegis and he's got 6 up save, I think. To everything, so I just need to roll 3 4s out of these 8.
Yeah,
and I rolled 1. 7
I
out of
remember that.
8 were
It was
one
incredible.
to threes, and it was like
Yeah.
what? And then he went back,
Mm.
and I had one. He had one to do my Aegis. I think actually I saved Aegis in my first round, so we went to a second round, which for me was the
Mm.
first time it had gone to the second round, which of course meant that he had an Aegis the second round, and by Jove, he saved it, and
He
I
did.
got
Mm.
stomped on after that, putting me on my
Yeah.
place.
And
And
I'm not sure that Tommy remembered his skeletal horse the entire round, like the
yeah, I don't think
tournament.
so. Yeah,
Do you know
yeah,
what I mean? Yeah, like I
that's
don't know how
funny.
much it would have mattered, but I think it came up in conversation later on, and he said, "I
Mm.
never rode with my horse. Like we had dragons and lions and
Yeah, yeah.
carnosaurs. He didn't bother with his horse."
Just yeah.
So,
No, it was funny, but yeah, well done, Tommy, to get that. Which meant
mm,
it was Dan at the
yeah.
bottom, me
Hmm.
just above, only by the one.
Hmm.
Tommy just above us, and then a three-way tie at the end
And all to play
for
different
at the start.
opponents.
Yeah,
Mm,
which was really really cool to see, and really interesting to see
yeah.
who would pip it in the final
Mm.
round. And this is what I mean. In you won't hang on, you won't believe what happened in this last round.
It's amazing. It's amazing. This is the moment
Um,
they've all been waiting for.
it is, and we do not disappoint because last round was me v you, the Carnosaur
Yeah.
versus the Elf, the Monster
Mhm.
versus the On Foot, and we would like to see that. Dan looking for his first win. It's a tough one. Not gonna lie against
It's a
Darren.
tricky one. Yeah, I mean Darren was
Um,
annoyed from his loss to Matty, so he was bit between his teeth.
yeah,
Yeah.
he's knuckle down, focusing on, and then an interesting one between Tommy and the Forest Dragon of Matty P.
Yeah.
There as well, because
Mm.
that was by no mean a given with the Aegis save
Yeah, I
as
mean,
well.
and to talk about that one, I have a feeling that one was the one that came closest to going all
Mm.
6 rounds or something like that because Matty just couldn't get through Tommy's armor and Aegis, and Tommy was chipping away at the dragon, and I have a feeling that one went on a few rounds. I could be wrong, but I think
Yeah,
that's what happened.
no,
Yeah.
I think so as well. Because I remember
Mm.
seeing a little bit of that, and that
Yeah.
was because of our battle, and
Yeah,
yeah, it didn't last long at all.
it's a fairly quick one. It was a snack,
Arguably, the impact hits did it as well. I'm not sure you needed
possibly,
anything else
possibly.
either, which
Yeah,
was a shame.
yeah.
I wanted to give some sort of thing, but my Aegis just died.
No, yeah.
Darren did in fact. There's no mercy with this guy. Just chomped down on Dan, and Dan
Mm.
unfortunately, yeah, really bad round for him. But just it's just said some of the matchups just were just bad.
Yeah, yeah,
um,
yeah.
and as we mentioned before at the start, his is definitely the least comped for, or the most comped, I
Yeah.
guess, for
Mm.
this round. And
Yeah.
in the Tommy versus Matty round, Matty did come up
He edged it.
trumps and
Mm.
just edged it there as well,
Yeah.
which was really really cool. Which meant that you were all
Mm.
still we're all in the same place, stuck on
Yeah.
first
4 out of 5
three-way
wins for each of
tie,
us.
baby.
I know. Yeah, because Darren beat me. I beat Matty. Matty beat Darren. So
Yeah.
that was the way it went. And then
So
we all just
very
squashed you
much on.
three.
Yeah, oh, absolutely, absolutely. We
Yeah.
got absolutely, but we
Yeah.
enjoyed being squashed
Mm.
nonetheless. And yeah, and it meant congratulations, you won the round effectively.
Yeah, I'll take it. I'll take
Yeah,
it. I mean, yeah. If I hadn't have been for those pesky lions,
pesky
then I think I
lions.
might
Yeah,
have even got a little bit more. But yeah, it was really good fun.
yeah,
Really good
really
fun.
good fun.
I have to
And
say, with Tommy getting the win over you in this round, does that make him slightly more even, Tommy?
yeah, I think so. I think we've both got one each, so we'll have to wait till next time
I
to
think so.
confess
Yeah.
who is the better Tommy.
Hmm.
He's just better one-on-one. I'm better in a group, you know.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah.
yeah, fair enough. Yeah, that probably works actually. Yeah.
Which brings us back to this one, and again, I'm gonna move us for
Thank you,
anybody that
Darren, for
wants to
writing it all
have a
down
little
as we
look.
did it.
Yep. So yeah, and this is how it all looked in the end, with a little table at the bottom there, showing everything we've got. But yeah, thus endeth the battle round and duel round, and I think we were all quite impressed. And
Yeah.
a lot of talk actually afterwards about how you would then do this to like a 40-man tournament, how you would do it, and I think the end result is if you wanted to do this, you put everyone into groups, because
Yes, so that it
actually,
was like this. Yeah.
actually the maximum points you could get is 15.
Yes.
So
Tournament
even if you
points,
had
and
a
it would.
terrible
Yeah.
round, you'd only be 15 behind
Hmm.
potentially than 20. So actually, it didn't
Yeah.
matter too much in terms of scoring. And arguably, if someone doesn't win, depending on what group they're in and things like this, every single one, then it's going to be quite even like this. So you don't actually lose
Yeah.
too much in terms
Mm.
of the
It's a bit
tournament
like a cap,
points.
isn't it? Yeah, a bit
Yeah.
like a cap, the maximum 15 cap.
The other
Mm.
chat was about how you then implement it into the rankings and at what stage you would do that. We
Hmm.
for the tournament just added it on at the end so that it didn't
Bonus
affect
points. Mm.
pairings or anything like that.
Yes.
Um,
Hmm.
so I mean, arguably you could do it fifth. It's a fifth round as well.
Hmm. Yeah.
So that you didn't know and things like that because that is
Yeah.
a thing.
In a smaller tournament, it wasn't really a massive problem because we were all
No,
going to mostly play each other anyway. But yeah.
yeah. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Mm.
loads of ways you could implement it. And I mean, you could just do a random thing where you just draw out of the hat who you against so many
Yeah.
times to get
Every
some
round.
points and stuff.
Mm.
In a 40-man tournament. But yeah, really fun. Cheers for putting it on, and yeah, we all had a
Mm.
great laugh.
Yeah.
Mainly lamenting my scroll antics for me. But yeah, and my
Yeah,
res
that
3.
scroll was annoying. Yeah.
Yeah.
I should say, I mean, Darren turned off my impact hits against me with his scroll.
Sure.
So that's why. I think you did as well, actually, didn't you? So it wasn't impact hits that
Yeah,
killed me.
I
But
can't
anyway,
remember. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, it's done.
But yes. So on to and I can bring us back for this last bit. You can look at our lovely faces for this last bit. Did you guess what happened at the end? Put it in the comments.
Yeah.
But otherwise, we're still looking to increase people for our 100 club. So if
Hmm.
you're interested in that, put it in the comments. Hit us up on Discord or the actual forum as well. We're always looking for people there. We had loads of people ask actually, so we're looking to arrange some of them games in the coming weeks.
Get it on. Yeah.
And when this goes out, we may have already had one. So
Mm.
yeah, excited for that, and obviously excited to bring you the rest of Masters Open, as well as all the coverage. All the build up to Art of War, and I believe we've at this point we've entered the online tournament on
Erkanok.
Warhall
Yeah.
as well, which is
Yeah.
always a good mention. So maybe folks will see you there and battle, and you can be part of the 100 just by entering that one. Yeah. Otherwise, hit us up on all the social medias. Look on movementtrade.com because they do some great movement trades, obviously. Duh.
Yeah.
And yeah, otherwise.
I'm going to say see you later because someone's at my door. Bye.
All right.